Henry County in Martinsville, Virginia. It's here you can live in the present, but remember the past. This grist mill was built and operated from 1910 until 1935 by E.B. Mabry. Beautiful mill is along the Blue Ridge Parkway and is part of the National Park Service. So well into the 20th century, many mountain communities relied on ingenuity to produce life's necessities. We're at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Here's Jerry Punch.
Work continues on the Tide Chevrolet behind the wall. Ricky's still sitting in the car. Ricky, what happened up there?
Well, Jerry, I'm not really sure. The 6 car got on the brakes. Everybody got low down. The 11 car, I don't know if he was looking somewhere else or not, but he just drove right straight in the back of me and turned me around.
Ricky's still sitting in the car. We'll show you the damage on the car. Here's what's left of the right front rotor. Take a look at the brakes, just locked up when he slapped the wall. That's a pretty expensive piece of equipment, and right now it's very costly to run, and it's costing them a lot of valuable time here as we get ready to go back to green flag. Bob?
Track is clear, and we're set to go back to green. Strickland, Wallace, Petty, Gordon, and Irvin are your top 5, and the green comes out for lap number 29.
Rusty Wallace trying to get underneath Hud Strickland. Can't do it. He goes down to the inside. He's trying once again.
Kyle Petty trying to lap Bobby Labonte. He passes it. Jeff Gordon now will attempt to, but meanwhile, Ernie Irvin.
Hey, taking an outside route. Bobby Labonte moves down to the inside. Irvin saw that, just took advantage and moved right on around it.
And look at Ernie close right up on the back bumper of Kyle Petty. Meanwhile, this is Jimmy Hensley.
Hensley running in 6th. That's Jeff Gordon just ahead of him. This is our Armor All in-car camera being carried by Jimmy Hensley, driving the Bojangles Ford for Alan Kulwicki Racing. No announcement yet on who the buyer might be for that team or when the announcement might be made. But
you knew they met with Friday? No. I was racetrack qualifying Payne Stewart.
Is that right? Golfer. How about that?
Has some interest in buying the team. Imagine that.
How about that? Well, Jeff Bodine is among those mentioned as a possible buyer. We also hear that an IndyCar owner is looking for the possibility of buying that team. So we'll have to wait for a few more days or weeks before we know who is going to buy the Kulwicki team.
There's Davey Allison directly behind Jimmy Hensley. Havlin Texaco car.
And a pass for 3rd as Ernie Irvin, who tried to get around Kyle Petty coming off the 2nd corner, stands on the gas, takes the position headed into 3, and Ernie has moved to 3rd.
Meanwhile, Hud Strickland is putting some distance on Rusty Wallace. Does that mean Wallace has a problem?
Here's Ken Schrader, Bobby Hamilton, and Mark Martin. Here's a Napa Field summary for you, how they were running last time around this half-mile racetrack here at Martinsville.
Bobby Hamilton had a great qualifying run, qualified 9th. Now Martin goes by. Here comes Brett Bodine trying to get alongside Bobby. He makes it.
Brett Bodine led this race late last year.
And there's Earnhardt already up to about 12th to 13th place.
From a starting position of 21st.
Up to 13th. If he could get by Bobby Hamilton, that would put him in 12th.
He had an awfully fast race car. In fact, a lot of people were looking at him to be a pole contender, and then he qualified like 32nd on the first day. Don't know if he tried too hard. That was what some of the crew members were wondering. But anyway, he didn't have a good qualifying run. Had to come back and re-qualify yesterday. John Carden?
Well, guys, Dale Earnhardt is so unused to pitting on the back stretch that as the race started, he radioed his spotter and said, hey, don't forget, when we get ready to pit, remind me, I'm not pitting on the front stretch, I'm pitting on the back.
First time in his career that Earnhardt has pitted on the back stretch, but since there are only 17 spaces here on the main straightaway and he was 21st, that's where he is. Earnhardt started 21st, moved to 17th by the end of lap 5, then to 15th, 13th, and at the end of 36 laps is now in 12th and chasing down Brett Bodine. Hut Strickland continues to lead this race, and he's looking for his first top 10
spin. Bobby Hamilton is
Daytona.
It's fun coming up turn 4. Still no caution flag. They're hoping Hamilton can't get the car going, which he does. He's going to lose some time because here comes the leader, Hut Strickland. He goes by.
Hamilton loses a lap after the spin.
As Benny said, Bobby had a great qualifying run, but the car looked a little loose. A number of cars had been passing him, and don't know if he had a little help when he spun out or if it just got too loose for him. He's coming into the pits.
The Junior Johnson-owned McDonald's Ford, driven by Hut Strickland, is the leader of this race after 41 of 500 laps. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Dr. Jerry Punch back at Martinsville, where Rusty Wallace is leading the Haynes 500 with 117 laps completed. Now the good battle for 6th position is between Brett Bodine and Dale Earnhardt.
And there it is.
Brett Bodine has the 6th position. Earnhardt trying to take it away. They've had a pretty good battle here for the last several laps, but Bodine hanging right down on the inside with his Quaker State Ford, so he's able to hold Earnhardt off.
Dale trying to dispel that notion that you can't win a race here pitting on the backstretch. Now, Darrell Waltrip did win one a few years ago.
Wait a minute, Brett Bodine is pitting on the backstretch as well.
That's right, yeah.
So Bodine's crew, let's give him credit. They beat the Earnhardt crew out of the pits that last pit stop.
And Bodine, again, has had some great runs this year, but doesn't have very good finishing positions to show for it.
They'll move down out of the rearview mirror, hoping that Brett Bodine would go up the hill a little bit in turn 3. Didn't work. Once again, or maybe, you know, Dale Earnhardt is driving his race car like he has a brake problem. I noticed a while ago he was going in the corner a little bit high. He's moving over sometimes down the straightaway like he's trying to get air to cool those brakes off. Or maybe he was just trying to fake Brett Bodine out and make him move up the racetrack.
Dale Jarrett, meanwhile, is running in 18th position, wearing the San Francisco 49ers helmet this week. Now, joining me is a guy, now let's see, who did he used to play for? Yeah, by golly, he did used to play for the 49ers, didn't he? The Grand Marshal of the Haynes 500 has joined us here in the booth now. Kansas City Chief Joe Montana. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
You like this?
I sure do. You know, that's one of the things that has always been intriguing to me as a kid, has been fast cars and racetracks, and I've only had one opportunity to get into one, and this is my first opportunity to come and actually be in one and up close and personal.
Here's a good run for second and third here is Hut Strickland and Ernie Irvin. Ernie's closed in now on Hut.
Ernie tried to get inside of down in turn 1 last lap. And Kyle Petty, we can see he's right back there as well.
So how does it feel to be a member of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, it feels pretty good. You know, my future's kind of stable now. For a while it was up and down, and it feels good to be able to kind of have a home and know where I'm going. And it's been a little rough trying to get into a new offensive system, and it's mostly the same with a lot of new terminology, so I've had to spend a lot more time in a playbook than I've had in a while.
You going to go there soon and begin getting settled in?
Yeah, we've actually already started looking for homes, and we're trying to find a place as quick as we can to get settled, so my traveling back and forth will be as easy as possible, and when we want to take the family, it'll be easy.
What would you do, live in Kansas City year-round? Is that...
No, our home, we just got finished building a home in outside of San Francisco.
You're kidding. Great.
Yeah, so we'll probably spend a good deal of time during the season in Kansas City, and then when the season's over, take the kids back to San Francisco and put them back in school again there. So we'll be going back and forth.
Joe, do you have, I know you're very busy, as most athletes are at their sport. Do you have time to keep up with other sports to any degree?
Well, you try to keep up with each one a little bit. It's almost impossible unless you're just a huge fan of one sport to try to take one and follow it all the way through. I like watching baseball. I like watching basketball. Race cars, I mean, it's just been a love from day one. And my son's all of a sudden, you'd be switching through the channels and you'll see race cars.